Europe has the most brutal history when it comes to witchcraft and the Inquisition era. The absolute horrific crimes committed on people that were accused will never be forgotten and will go down as one of the worst times in history. This series will highlight some of the heinous practices that were done in the Inquisition era. To start this series off today, I'm going to be talking about the Aberdeen Witch Trials that took place in Scotland. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you don't know what's going on here, well, I'm certainly not going to tell you to check under your bed every night just in case you have an uninvited guest, because it could explain the noises during the night and missing food. But I am a horror artist and I like to draw what I talk about in these videos. I like scary facts, true crimes, anything to do with the paranormal, aliens, all that kind of good shit, and I like to draw, so I like to combine all of that into these videos to hopefully bring you a unique experience. If you want to support me, head across to Redbubble. I've got prints, I've got stickers on there. I am still very slack. I haven't uploaded a lot of stuff, so there is a lot of stuff missing, but you know, be patient with me. I'm only a one-woman band, so I do try and do everything myself, and it does get quite hard. I also have an Etsy store where you can purchase felt toy patterns. You get a pattern, you download it, and you can create a toy. I've got horror movie characters on there. I've got my own designs. Just head across there and have a look if you're a creative person. Now, with that being said, let's get on with the video and let's get on with the drawing. The witch craze swept over Aberdeen, Scotland, which resulted in 45 women and 2 men being accused, and 24 of those people, 23 women and 1 man, being burnt and or hung. A panic broke out which caused people to accuse mostly women of making pacts with the devil, using ligature to cause men to be unfaithful to their wives, spoil food products, and make people and animals sick and die. 1596 to 1597 saw the most deaths in Aberdeen, hence why I am focusing on that time period mostly in this video. These witch trials ended up spreading all around Scotland, causing more panic and executions which rose from there. Most of the accused were poor and or elderly women. Aberdeen has the best records of witch burning in the whole of Scotland. If you don't know, Aberdeen is a coastal city on the northeast side of Scotland. It is the 3rd largest city and has a population of roughly 400,000 people, from the inner city area to the outer suburbs. Aberdeen has a long sandy coastline with cool temperatures in summer and rainy cold winters. Aberdeen once relied on the fishing, textiles, shipbuilding and papermaking industries, but now mainly relies on the oil industry to fuel its economy. Back in the 16th century, convicts were housed in St. Nicholas's church steeple that has no heating in any way, shape or form, so winters were bitterly cold, laying on stone floors with no beds or blankets. All executions in Aberdeen were spectacular events to watch because of the nature of the gory killings. Victims were tied to a stake, strangled and burnt to death before a very large crowd of onlookers. Thanks to the Queen's Act law passed in 1563 and the influence of James VI, it was made a law that the crime of witchcraft would be punishable by death. One of the most interesting cases in Aberdeen was that of old Janet Wishart and her family. Janet was known as the Great Witch of Scotland and was accused of casting spells, especially on a man named Alexander Thompson, who ended up developing the sweats and shivers from an illness. Another victim was Andrew Webster, who ended up dying from an unknown cause, but was chalked up to good old Janet casting a spell on him too. Janet was also accused of raising storms, sending nightmare cats to cause people torturous dreams, and she allegedly dismembered a corpse that was hanging from the gallows. 5 men saw her one night at around 2 a.m. coming out of a man's yard named Adam Mears, which was one of her neighbours. That day, around 3 p.m, 2 of those 5 men ended up drowning in the lake where they bathed for no apparent reason. Even Janet's son-in-law, John Allen, ended up testifying against her when he struck Janet's daughter in a fit of rage, and Janet reprimanded him, which he didn't take well. After this, a brown dog started coming into his bedroom at night and attacking him while it left his wife alone. The dog did this every night until John threatened to turn Janet in. Janet's son, Thomas Leas, was also found guilty of witchcraft and accused of being the ringleader and meeting with witches at the Fish Cross Castlegate in Aberdeen on Halloween night. Janet was accused of over 30 accounts of witchcraft over a 20-year period, so both Janet and Thomas were burnt alive together. This was a particular inhumane case because people were usually strangled first before being burnt. Not long afterwards, the rest of the family, John, Janet's husband, and their 3 daughters, Elspeth, Jonette, and Violet, were all accused of witchcraft. They were, however, acquitted of all counts of witchcraft, but were found guilty of being in the presence of Janet and Thomas and being accomplices, so they were all banished from Aberdeen and the surrounding area. A company supporting my channel is Ground News. This unique news source website gives you both sides of the story and lets you know which way an article is leaning, whether it's to the left or to the right. Or it could even be centered. It will also give you the sources reporting on it and which way they lean so you are not blindsided. It cuts through the misinformation and will also help you get a different perspective of the story instead of a complete biased one from the mainstream media, because let's face it, they cannot be trusted. This news platform lets you use your own critical thinking while comparing multiple perspectives on the same story. It helps you make sense of the chaotic media landscape while staying on top of the latest news of the day all across the world. You will see the story behind the story using data-driven analysis from over 50,000 sources gathered from around the world. You will see how international stories are being covered across the world using the interactive map. If you subscribe today, you will get 40% off your subscription if you click on the link down below in the description box, and you will also get access to the mobile app as well. Enough about that, let's get back to the story. Another woman accused of witchcraft was Isabel Strathanchin, who was also executed in March of 1597. She was said to have made love potions, took bones from dead bodies to mix into her potions from the Dice churchyard, and curing animals such as sheep of diseases. She was burnt at the stake. Margaret Bain was accused of witchcraft in 1567, but was acquitted until the 1597 witch hunt. Margaret lived with her husband and 2 children in Kincardine O'Neill, Aberdeen. She was a midwife and was very respected for her skills and had clients ranging from peasants to the noble. She ended up being accused due to her sister, Jonette Spaldag, being accused, and Margaret got accused for being an accomplice to her. 8 other women that knew Margaret and were also being tried for witchcraft accused Margaret of being a witch too. One case against Margaret was that she was accused of passing a woman's labour pains onto the woman's husband where he died. She also predicted the sex of a child before it was born, and some of her techniques and extensive knowledge of being a midwife ended up being blamed on witchcraft. Margaret did confess when on trial that she did do magic, and her sister Jonette had taught her and made her a follower of the devil. She also did cast spells with another woman named Isabel Ritchie for evil purposes and had a vision about a headless man. On the 25th of March, 1597, Margaret was put on trial and put to death by burning at the stake. Jonette Witchett was another woman who was burnt at the stake on the 17th of February 1597 when she was accused of causing illnesses and deaths, causing delays in a child being born, causing a child to be stillborn, poisoning a child and causing ale brew to spoil. Jonette ended up dobbing in another woman named Isabel Cocky, who was accused of witchcraft on the 19th of February 1597 because she was a healer and white witch that helped people with her herbal drinks, but she was accused of demonic witchcraft practices, causing several people to fall ill and causing a neighbour's cow's milk not to churn. Isabel was tried and found guilty and burnt at the stake. Other people that were accused of witchcraft were identified by a convicted witch that made a deal with authorities to be of use and point out other witches, as she said she knew them all. She claimed that she was at the Great Gathering of Athol and saw over 2,000 witches that had the mark of the devil. Many of these victims were tried with the swimming witch method, which requires their thumbs and big toes to be tied together and then thrown into the river to see if they could swim. Sleep deprivation was applied to get people to confess to being a witch as well, which usually happened when they were in jails awaiting trials. It took until 1703 for witchcraft to no longer be a criminal offence in Aberdeen, so no more lives were lost to witchcraft trials after this date. From 1536 to 1703, which was 167 years, there was a total of 76 people accused for witchcraft in Aberdeen and at least 3,837 across Scotland. Let me know what you think about the Aberdeen Witch Trials and leave a comment down in the comment section below. The illustration that I decided to do for this one today is I got back into watercolour and I got this vision of a witch head that had been reefed off the head of a witch that was basically being hung, and the heads come off from the body and this creepy creature with all these tentacles has come out of the neck, and it had basically been possessing this woman, this particular witch. So that's the vision I got for this story in this video today. Just imagine back in those days if this actually really happened, like they were hanging a witch and the head came apart from the body and they saw these tentacles pop out. That is it from me. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you do want to hear more on this witchcraft series, I'm going to start this series, and if anyone is interested in learning about some of the nitty-gritty witchcraft history, I will be continuing. So yeah, hopefully you guys support this series. Hopefully you like, subscribe, dislike it. I couldn't give two shits what you do, because any interaction you give me goes towards the algorithm for other people to find me, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye.